Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe just wrapped up with the House Intel Committee after, get this, 7.5 hours behind closed doors. McCabe may hold the key to unraveling the entire insurance policy text between Peter Strzok and his mistress, Lisa Page. Joining us now to analyze, Saul Wisenberg, a former deputy independent counsel who conducted grand jury questioning of President Bill Clinton in the Whitewater investigation. He joins us now. Saul, wow, 7.5 hours. Even if I am a little tongue-tied at the top there. 7.5 hours for McCabe. What does that tell you, if anything?
It tells you they're very angry at him. I mean, you're talking about a person who wouldn't understand a conflict of interest if it jumped up and bit him on the butt. And they've probably been waiting to talk to him for a long time. I mean, my God, you're talking about a lawyer whose wife took $700,000 from a Clinton crony, and he refused to recuse himself from the Clinton investigations until there was a Wall Street Journal story about it, and by then it was too late. They were closed.
Well, Republicans, more of them, are coming closer, and at least one calling for him to step aside. I think a lot of folks are hesitant to say that about Mueller, although some are. But it seems to me, given everything we know about McCabe, from his wife to the conversation, or they learned something about that conversation, I imagine, that took place before the election that Mr. Strzok was referring to in those texts about an insurance policy. And at this point, I think he's the weakest link at the FBI in this current situation.
Laura, nobody over at the Bureau can believe. I talked to former agents. I talked to people who are currently at the Bureau. Nobody can believe that he's still there. It's astonishing that he's still there. I wouldn't tarnish Mueller. I noticed you didn't pass up the opportunity to tarnish Bob Mueller with McCabe. I wouldn't do that. Mueller has nothing to do with the things that McCabe did before Mueller came onto the scene. If you talk about the insurance text, the insurance policy text from Strzok, what possible innocent explanation is there? He says we can't take the risk that Trump will be elected. We can't take the risk. I mean, how can you? There are only embarrassing and more embarrassing explanations. There's no completely innocent explanation for that. Worst case scenario is, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think, yeah, go ahead. The worst case scenario is they were trying to stop Trump from becoming elected and get that FISA warrant on a phony basis of that dossier. But they're trying to say now, through various sources going to the Wall Street Journal, that they were actually trying to, in a way, help Trump if he were elected by getting finished with this investigation, correct?
That is ridiculous. They're also saying, I've also heard a rumor floating around that the insurance policy was for them to keep their jobs, which is equally ridiculous. An FBI agent doesn't have to worry about, I know, an FBI person at that level doesn't have to worry about keeping their job in a new administration unless they've committed malfeasance. So unless he was worried about his handling of the Clinton email investigation, I'm talking about Strzok now, he had nothing to worry about. It's a preposterous explanation. I suppose the best explanation, the most innocent explanation, is we can't take the risk that he's going to get elected and not let us investigate him, so let's get this investigation started now. But even there, it's obvious they're rushing things. They're not doing it the right way and the meticulous way.
I have a question for you, Saul. Why wouldn't Jeff Sessions at this point fire McCabe? I mean, that doesn't bear on the Russian investigation. I know he recused himself from the collusion investigation, but why couldn't he fire McCabe now? He could, right?
Well, he has the power to fire McCabe. I've heard different things about how broad his recusal was. I mean, one interpretation is he said, I won't have anything to do with the election at all. And I suppose somebody could say, well, that has to do with the election.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
But I think he could do it. But look, President Trump can call up Christopher Wray and say the guy shouldn't be there. And he has the power to do that.
He'll be attacked for it. So he's
attacked for everything.
Yeah, you know, but he won't do it. He won't do it. And I think you're probably right. In the end, he probably shouldn't. Saul, thank you so much. Another great analysis.